Hi, Bronson. Thanks so much for opening your studio today. Can you tell us about your media that you work with?
Well, what I do is I capture images that often can be lost in time, such as old outports of Newfoundland, as well as now barns in Ontario and in the area. And what I do is I work on wood, carve it in, as well as build it up with pine and balsa wood, and then paint it with acrylic paints. So I call it sort of modern primitive. It's not really folk art, but it's a little step up from that, and a different interpretation, and it's a lot of humor in it with sheep and cows.
And your inspiration, you said, comes locally as well as from Newfoundland. Are you from that area?
No, my dad was stationed in Newfoundland during the war, so I grew up with all little black and white pictures of funny houses on stilts and Newfie dogs and boats and things like that. So when I was initially doing my artwork in '83, my mother's side of the family is from Ancaster, so I was doing sheep and cows and barns, and they said, well, do wood buildings out east. So I've dragged up Dad's photos and started doing paintings there, and I've been very successful with that. And now with moving to Peterborough, we moved here 3 years ago, and having a wonderful time and exploring the barns and capturing things here.
So is this your first experience with the art studio tour?
Well, this is my second year. I did very well last year, very pleased with the response, the wonderful people who are interested in art and supporting the arts in the area. And this year, very good. I'm trying different mediums, trying a little different experimentation, which you have to do as an artist. One thing I've done for this show is to help promote the new women's shelter that's being built here in Peterborough, the Crossroads Safe Haven campaign. And what I've done is I'm donating a painting to them called Safe Harbor, Newfoundland. It's just a wonderful, calm place where mom and child can rest and escape from the turmoil, from the violence that they've experienced. And that's the wonderful thing about this campaign, is building a home so that women can go and start their lives over again, and their children start their lives over again, to break that cycle of violence so that they can go forward and have a life again.
Tell us what we're looking at right now.
Well, you're looking at what is Rose Tully's barn. Early in April there was a farm auction which we went to, in which we got to see Rose's home. She has passed away, and this is on the road to Lindsay. And I love barns, and so I photographed the barn. And unfortunately, you can see Rose Tully's barn in April, and then now. They've torn down the top part. Whether to sell off the wood, I don't know. To me, it's a sad thing, because that barn will never come back. The technology they used in the time period, the wonderful beams that were set up and dried, it's almost like being in a cathedral when you're in a barn. The way the lighting is and the way it feels, and all the work that went into it. And it's a sad thing that's lost forever. So that's what I try to do. This is one of my flat paintings. Try to capture the artwork so it's in our hearts and in our memories. Not only make people feel happy about what they see, but also capture things that can be lost.
Now, you mentioned about branching out a little bit. Tell us about your canvas work now.
Well, what's been very interesting with this is that I had some time period before the show, and I didn't want to get too involved because I didn't want to have a half-finished painting, because it takes a long time to carve out all the little pieces of wood. I started to do some work on a flat canvas board. And so doing some little experimental scenes, sort of group and seven-ish type of things. Another interpretation of barns, and that in Duro as well as in Cameron. And what's great about this is when I'm working in wood, in carving, I carve a rock, it's stuck. It ain't moving. But when I work just in the canvas, I can go and play with it and have a little more fun with it. So it gives me a little more freedom to go and experiment and see where I'm at. Because as I'm sure with yourself, is there are certain days you're certain colors. Same thing with an artist and how they view the world, because we view it differently, which sometimes makes it difficult, but we see things in different colors in certain time periods. Different colors come to mind, and what sort of turns your crank, moves your mojo, whatever.
certainly is very colorful and very happy in here. Thanks so much for joining us
Well,
today.
I'm glad you said it was happy. Thank you, because that's what I like to convey with people, because that's what I see. I see people smiling when they look at my work, and that makes me feel good. Thank you.
It certainly comes across.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be back in a moment with more with Focus.